It's my sincere opinion that pull-ups are the greatest back exercise of all time. Anyone who gets strong at them, bodyweight only for higher reps or weighted, will have sweeping lats with decent thickness. And as someone who specialized for years now, my back has become my best body part. Of course, it was always pretty good, but pull-ups took it to that next level. And through time, I've mixed in variations that have only enhanced this overall process. In today's video, I want to share an underrated one that's been around since the silver and golden era of bodybuilding, used by the GOATs. I'm talking about the wide grip chest to bar pull-up. You think you're strong at weighted pull-ups? You're doing over 100 pounds for reps? Great. How about you drop all that weight, use your body weight only, and attempt to get 10 to 20 reps full range of motion, as wide as you can, and as the one and only Franco Columbu said, bringing your clavicle to the bar. So it must be below the chin.
I grabbed very wide, and my goal was always extend all the way and must bring it down with the chest up and really feel the lats, and the bar will come down below the chin. Right. Every rep.
So you're either touching here, or the next level beyond that is the sternum pull-up, but then you're leaning back a bit. So it's more Gironda style, and it's not what I'm going to recommend today. Either you're going to be fully vertical or slightly lean back, and you get that full range of motion. If you look at the arm bend, you'll notice it's not 90 degrees at the top. It's like this, bro. Tight to your sides. Basically, if you have functioning mobility, you can do this right now. Body weight in the air. Just do this. That's the motion. You see how deep we're getting? You'll be doing that in the air. Man, the lat contractions are out of this world. After a few sets, you're going to have this cramping sensation that is hard to describe, honestly. Because what you've been doing right now, especially with that wide grip, has been partial reps. Most guys seem to bring their eyes to the bar, or their chin touches it, or barely goes over. When you get that final range of motion in the bottom, that extra bend, that's what changes everything. And you might think, oh, it can't be that hard, right? I'm doing wide grip pull-ups with 45 pounds or more. You won't be able to do that with chest to bar, because now you need that extra lockout strength, and it's maximum adduction, which also explains why it's so good for lats. And again, going back to Franco Columbu, who was Arnold Schwarzenegger's training partner and won the Mr. Olympia. He weighed between 180 and 200 pounds. What did he say when interviewed throughout the years? That he never added weight to this exercise.
Did you used to add weight onto your chin-ups?
No, never.
So if you're of a similar stature, chances are you don't need to either. Unless you're a lot more shredded and you weigh less than him. So if you're in the 160s, 170s, sure, you can add a little bit of load, especially if you want to be in a low to moderate rep range. But there's really no point considering the fact that you're within the optimal hypertrophy rep ranges. Like, you're not going to get 30 chest to bar pull-ups. Good luck. And even 20 is going to be a massive struggle. So just doing sets of 15 is very hard. Now, I want to point out regarding the form, there will be some sets where you're not like touching all the way. You might be this much off. Those still count. And you can actually use regular pull-ups as a mechanical drop set. But the thing is, you're going to get way less than if you just did pull-ups for reps. So what I mean is, if you did 10 chest to bar pull-ups, then try to do just your regular range of motion, you might get no more than 3 or 4. Whereas if you would have done just these or variation, you probably have gotten 20 or more. So there is a sapping of strength that happens independent of the fact that we're not working within those lower joint angles, because you're weaker in that squeeze, and that's draining away your strength. Not to mention, there's more range of motion as a whole, more TUT, more fatigue accumulation, and you're stressing the hardest joint angles. The hardest part of a pull-up when you get strong at them is eventually going to be that lockout. Regardless, if you do add weight, it'll likely be no more than 10 to 45 pounds. Or if you're a super freak, maybe you've done 4 plates on the way to pull-up, all right, fine, you can probably get to 2. at least 50% of your 1 rep max. But for the average lifter watching this who's not a street lifter and is probably not elite, bodyweight only will suffice. And if Franco Columbu, one of the strongest men to come out of the golden era, was saying that you don't need to add weight, maybe that should tell us to all drop our egos. And personally, I prefer not to add weight. I want to do the exercise properly. And that's another thing, right? You got to control your repetitions to a certain extent. You can explode the concentric, but you want to control the eccentric as much as possible. Like, all I'm saying is I do not want you kipping or moving your torso all over the place just to get your chest to touch the bar. You want everything to be locked in. You got that slight lean back, you're maintaining tightness. Legs are either together or slightly apart, or you got the cross leg, but you're not deviating away from that position. I don't want to see your legs going forward and backwards. Think of it in terms of the hollow body positioning, but you're not in hollow body. You're a rod, okay? And in the bottom, you don't have to do a 100% dead hang, such that your shoulders are going towards your ears, but you should get really close to it. Like, I want to see straight arms, not bent arms. When you do this properly, you'll find the stretch and contraction is insane. And the benefit here is that you don't even have to think about mind-muscle connection. As long as you're rigid and doing the full range of motion, everything is maximally recruited. And what's crazy is it'll help you as a calisthenics athlete who is trying to get better at weighted pull-ups, because the joint angles will radiate. Basically, if you can get your chest to the bar, what happens when you double that load? Naturally, your range of motion is going to cut off, right? You're now going to be chin slightly over the bar, but you're losing about this, right? But because you develop that upper end, there's a radiation effect. Joint angle specificity dictates that performance radiates 15 degrees in all directions. Meaning, if you do the clavicle pull-ups, that's going to help you if you try learning the sternum pull-ups. If you do sternum, it's going to help your clavicle. If you do clavicle, it's going to help chin over the bar. If you do chin to bar, it's going to help you right about here and there. So that's why it's smart to work in all these positions and change your grip widths. And one more thing is that with the wide grip, if you're doing it off a pull-up bar and a power rack, it kind of tilts at an angle. So in a way, you have like a camber bar effect. You're doing a bit more range of motion because your hands are not level with the clavicle that is now touching the middle part of the bar. Does that make sense? For all my home gym guys, this is even more impressive. And that's again why I didn't want you to overly stress about fully touching it every time. Anyway, the stimulus to fatigue ratio was excellent. If you struggle to do even 5 reps, then I would begin your workout with these. Whereas if you're already experienced, you can finish off. And one more way to make the exercise harder is by pausing at the top, which is an uber level of difficulty. Anyway, there's not a whole lot to say here. If you want a time-tested pull-up variation that's very hard, is super range of motion, hits the stretch and peak contraction, and will make you stronger at weighted pull-ups in general, you have nothing to lose by doing wide grip, chest to bar pull-ups. Give them a shot. Let me know how you like them because I know you'll be surprised. And I'll see you in the next video.